Testing. Blah, 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 blah.
Ready, set, go.
It's time for the Coach Amy and Coach Liz show.
A podcast for endurance athletes by 2 athletes, 2 coaches, and a physical therapist.
We are your hosts, Coach Amy
And Coach Liz.
coming to you from
Kansas City.
Welcome back, y'all.
Hello.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about getting out in the cold and running in the cold in the wintertime.
Running, yeah.
If you live in the area of the world where it is cold right now.
Yeah.
But so I prompted this, couple things prompted this one.
Oh, God.
We were out. I never run into you
No.
out there running. And
we run on the same path.
I know.
And I've never seen you in all our years.
It's weird. Okay, so anyway, so you guys, I am running along, and it was actually a particularly really cold, like we were breaking records here in Kansas City.
It was in the
like
20s.
11 degrees. Yeah, like wind chill 11 degrees.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, I dressed
It
warm.
was 11 degrees?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, no wonder
So
it was
when
so
you, but anyway, I'm running along and I'm like, oh, here comes this person. You're like running towards me, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, look at this. Oh my gosh. And for me, I can't turn off like assessing running form. Like it just like, I cannot turn it off.
Oh
so
my
here
gosh.
comes, you know, you're just, and it's not like I'm like critiquing it
No,
or
I
anything.
know. I
It's
do the
just,
same thing
it's
with
just
swimming.
there. Yeah. Right.
just-
It's just there. Oh my God, with the swimming.
Oh my
can't
gosh, I
imagine.
know. It's like you're just watching it all the time.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what effortless form, like just like I'm not kidding.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, she just looks so, you know, natural, easygoing, like a just perfect form. Like there was nothing. Yeah. So that's the first thing I noticed.
Do go on.
Then the second thing I noticed, because you're wearing cotton sweatpants.
I know.
And so I noticed that, and I'm like, oh, that is not good. And then I realized as I get closer and closer, it's Liz.
Oh my God, I know.
God.
What was I wearing?
You were wearing cotton, and also you were listening to music.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah, I
We
was.
had just released that podcast about the music, so I thought that was funny too. So anyways, I stop you. I'm like, what is this? Get up.
No.
And
oh
I
my
took
God,
a picture
hilarious.
also. I took a picture. So if you want to see that picture, go to our show.
Oh my
notes, or
gosh,
if
that's
you're-
hilarious.
Yeah,
I look like a God only knows.
yeah. So, but the other thing that prompted this topic for us is that, you know, I have a new, like an athlete that's newer to training and like, especially continuing on their training,
Yeah.
and facing a winter running.
Yeah.
And, you know, she said, in an email, one of the things I want to talk about is, you know, I want to avoid getting sick by running outside, so I want to talk about treadmill. Oh, you already know what I feel about that.
I know you are like, everybody knows you didn't like the treadmill.
And we have our podcast
We do.
about that. So if you
We
haven't
do.
heard that, you can go back and
I
there's also
know
a
that
link.
I am a sinner. I'm a sinner in the treadmill community.
Well, you know, we just have to know how to run, you know, to do it safely and carefully and all that. And that's in our other podcast and also blog posts that I've written about it. So we won't revisit that necessarily today, but I do, you know, interestingly, you know, people have this, I don't know if it's a myth that being outside or in the wintertime will make you sick. And it's the opposite.
For sure. I mean, I feel like it is.
It is opposite. So like the winter season, you know, you hear about this. It's you know, we know it's the cold and flu season, right? Not as likely to catch germs being outside. We are more likely to get flu and viruses by sharing enclosed spaces with others, and that drier indoor air in the wintertime helps viruses survive longer.
Yeah.
So I say run outside in the fresh air.
Well, yeah. And, you know, also, I mean, for those of us that deal with the seasonal effects disorder, I feel like getting outside is I mean, it's a game changer, really.
It absolutely
for
is.
mental health.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. Well, let's talk about that right now because sunlight helps you with the vitamin D, and helps you with release of serotonin, which is that good feeling hormone.
Yeah.
You know, so it absolutely it helps you mentally.
And the nice thing about running while we're talking about this is, when you come from a triathlon background, like running outside and what to wear, like the gear it's like biking outside when it's cold is like a whole thing with trying to figure out what to wear and the gear. And I find it very challenging to kind of pin what you're going to do. Running, I think, you warm up quickly when you run. You can get out. You actually need much less gear than you would think. I mean, as somebody who really doesn't like the cold and who gets really cold, I will run outside almost anything. Like you can it's easy to dress to go outside and run versus biking where I don't find it easy to figure out what to wear.
Yeah. So let's go back to that sunlight and that being outside, because there's some physical and mental benefits. The sunlight, even when it's filtered through the clouds, we get that serotonin, but it not only elevates our mood, but helps you sleep better. And better sleep decreases stress and helps with your recovery.
Yes, it does.
So did we give you a good plug for for that part? The other thing is that fresh air, it's like people say fresh air. What does that even mean? And I pulled up an article.
Oh my gosh, they actually have an article on what fresh air is?
Well, no. Oh my God, you got a snort out of me. Here, I'm going to read this. The quality of outdoor air surpasses that of indoor air.
If we are living in a place where we are fortunate enough to have clean air.
Exactly.
Yes, we are very fortunate.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I'll put a link in the show notes for this, but the EPA's total exposure assessment methodology.
Oh my goodness.
They found that levels of about a dozen common organic pollutants to be between 2 to 5 times higher inside homes than outside. And that was regardless of whether the homes were located in rural or highly industrialized areas. So this is probably, this is the United States.
Sure.
Okay, that we're talking about here. But I have a link to that in the show notes so that you guys can see that. But now picture yourself running indoors on that treadmill with all the germy, dry, polluted.
I just suck it in.
Just breathe that in.
It's okay.
So now
we can have a treadmill club.
Yeah, no. When you are faced with okay, you're laying in bed in the morning and you're about to get up, and you're like, oh God, okay, I'm gonna go for the gym instead of running outside. I want you to think back to that article about that dry, polluted air, and then maybe you'll make the decision to go out there. Okay.
So what do you wear when you run?
Okay, let's go back to that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I want to ask you, what do you do to prepare mentally to go outside and run in the cold? Or what do you suggest athletes do? Because it is a bit of a mental thing. Because again, we're going to talk about it, but once you're dressed properly, it's not too bad.
It's not, no.
But it can be wind chill where it's to zero, it gets down to zero around here. And that's tough.
It is.
To run through there. And it's that mental, I always say, give it that first 10 minutes. Once that first 10 minutes is and you heat up, you're going to feel 20 degrees warmer.
Yeah.
If you've dressed properly, it could feel just fine. But there is this mental thing. What do you tell your athletes?
Well, so because, I really am super cold sensitive. And so I actually take a hot shower before I go outside and run. So I get my core temperature up and then I get dressed. So I'm warm when I go out the door. And that also just helps. I move my joints. I kind of do my warm up in a hot shower and then I get out and I get dressed. And I've had all my stuff laid out.
Is your hair wet though?
Yeah, but I'll just wear I'll either wear a hat or I don't get my hair wet. If it depends, it kind of just depends. I'm just warming up all of my, but that way my core temperature's up and I'm kind of warmed up. So when I get out there, I can start moving fast enough that I can just kind of hit it. And it's a buffer for me that I find super helpful.
That's really interesting because to me, I find it the opposite. So say I'm driving to a group run and I will leave my car. I will not turn the heat on or my heated seats. I know, because to me, when I'm all like hot and then I
know.
get out, it's that transition is so shocking. And I feel like if I don't make it as big of a transition, I don't have as hard of a time.
But see, so that's so interesting because I find it different. If I'm going to go someplace like that, it is much harder for me to get out of my hot car and go because I don't think that warms my core up enough. And I feel like the shower, like I'm hot from the inside with a shower versus like trying to warm up in the car. I find that to be kind of brutal transition.
Okay, so you do, that's so fascinating. But like, okay, all right. So it depends on how far I'm driving for that group run in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, if I did the shower or whatever. But, okay, you guys try this and let us know what you think in the comments.
But you know, okay, go
Okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, are we done? Are we going on?
No. Go.
Well, I want to know what you wear. And then I also think, you know, there's a difference in, you know, if it's cold with wind versus cold without wind. I mean, there's just different factors to consider.
Yeah, so we will have a link in the show notes to a blog post that I wrote about, you know, tips for dressing to run in these conditions. But let's go over what you know, some options for you guys. So to me, it's all about layers.
Yeah.
Wearing and not wearing cotton.
I know.
Have you ever heard the saying cotton kills?
Oh, I mean, I know. You would be appalled at the things that I wear to run. But I was also layered. I had on 2 pairs of pants.
Yes, you had on
I just needed an extra wind buffer.
Oh, a cotton wind buffer.
I know.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Okay,
but I was... Oh, Lord. Okay, at least I didn't have on my, like... I have some, like... tiger print fuzzy PJ bottoms that I wear sometimes. At least I wasn't in the...
seen those.
You probably have.
Okay. So we're going to say dress in layers of breathable, water-wicking materials and wind-resistant outer layer. Preferably reflective. Because a lot of these runs are happening in the morning when it's still dark. Okay. One of the things that I like to do is wear 2 pairs of mittens. So when it's really cold, and there's also these like hand warmer things, those chemical hand warmers that you can shake. You put them in your shoes and in because your digits are going to get colder faster. Freezing. Yeah, and my favorite thing to do is, you know, those gloves that are just like, they look kind of small. They look like kid gloves, and they're made out of, well, they are actually made out of like cotton.
What? Those things are like my nightmare.
You don't like those?
Oh my gosh, no. It's like we're going to pretend to be warm and you're going to put these things on that look so nice, and then it's farcical. Well,
I put them as an underlayment.
No.
Okay, you guys should see the face. Okay, well, you don't have to do that. But then my favorite thing on top of that, or without those, is the gloves that like finger gloves, but then they have the little outer covers.
The outer cover, and the outer cover is windproof.
Typically it's windproof. And then I have some others that are just mittens, where mittens I like where my fingers are kind of all together, smushed together, and they're getting their own body heat in there. So it just kind of depends on what the weather is that day, whether it's a super windy day or not, like what I'm choosing to do.
And I'm going to, so like just, you know, sometimes if you need a wind block that isn't like, it's something that you can maybe dispose of, or you're in a pinch, a plastic bag or like a piece of a mylar blanket, which I know sounds crazy, but I think especially, like I think about this for triathlon a lot, because you are out there and like you're having, like, you know, if you're out there for long enough for the triathlon, like the conditions, or like an ultra run where it's like maybe the sun goes down, or like it's, you know, and so you need to be able to be versatile. And so I definitely, like, I will run with an extra Ziploc bag or 2 in my run pouch if I'm in a day where it's questionable and I'm not sure if I'm going to need it, and it blocks the wind.
I mean, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, because you can stuff it in your, you know, your little race belt or run belt or in your pockets.
You can stuck it in the leggings of your pants if you wore it.
My God. That is such a good idea. Also, because the precipitation can change.
It can.
So there was this long run that I was just determined to do because it was, you know, leading up to a race, and the conditions changed while we were out. So here in Kansas City, you know, it's not, doesn't snow that often.
Yeah.
Right. And it did end up actually being very snowy. But before the snow, we started out dry, cold, very cold. But then we had that sleet. Oh, the icy sleet.
Yeah.
And I had on those kid gloves first.
Oh.
But here's what happened.
You could never talk to me about my cotton sweatpants again.
Okay, I know. Okay, so, but I had that overlayer, but it had gotten warm, so I had taken the overlayer off.
Yeah.
And then we started having the precipitation.
Yeah.
Well, then those got wet, and then they froze.
Yes.
And then, this was a 20-mile run.
Yeah.
And afterwards, when I peeled them off,
Yeah.
it took my layer of skin off.
Oh my gosh,
God, it
Amy.
was awful. I know, it was awful. Well, that was back in the day. I was learning.
Oh, I know.
I was learning, but unfortunately, I didn't remove those at the right time. And put on that overlayment, and it would have been great if I'd had the plastic baggies or even those old Mylar blankets, like you said. Like,
it's
you can collect those. You can. And you recycle them for use.
You know I do. I mean, because they're a good wind block too. Like, you can put them in your core and like put it underneath your shirt so that it doesn't gather the wind, and it blocks the wind from your core. But then it's something that's really easy to dispose of. But we had so this is a good chance to just quickly talk about Ironman California that was a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And that race, like the weather conditions on that race were just it was a sort of day, because I feel like my athletes always like kind of, I always make them plan for like plans A through like F. I mean, we've thought through all the scenarios, and how you're going to do it, not to like, create insanity, but you need to have a plan, because otherwise you're just afraid and you're not, if something goes wrong. But it was one of those days where like tons of stuff went south, and one of the things was the weather, and it got cold and it rained, and it was just, and then it would stop raining, and then it was just bad. And forever I will now have people put in their special needs bag like a long trash bag, because that trash bag, which I know you wouldn't necessarily do like for just if you're going out for a run and it's raining.
Right.
But those trash bags, if you cut out the head and then the armholes, it not only blocks the wind, but it also blocks the rain, and it makes a huge difference in how much, like, your body temperature. And I mean, it made the difference between going hypothermic and not going hypothermic for our athletes. And that's something that's like, it's not expensive. It's very accessible. It's something you could use in a pinch. Like, if you're on vacation and you forgot your rain jacket and it's, you need something, those trash bags can be, I mean, they can be a lifesaver.
Yeah. And we actually do, almost, all of our races, we will show up with those if we think it's going to be rainy, or because it is something that you can discard. And we all run around, going to the store, because you're not going to pack them. So we just go to the store and we get our bags and cut the armholes and neck holes out. And it's like a little poncho while you're waiting. Yeah. It's tough. It would be tough, I actually have a friend of mine who actually ran an entire marathon with the trash bag over him.
But in California, all of them had it.
Yeah, it does trap your heat in, which is good, but it doesn't allow moisture to escape. You just have to think about that once the condition changes to take it off.
Well, sure, and
if you can. Yeah. Okay, so and more tips. Okay, so let's talk about. We talked about layers. We talked about the mittens. Okay. 2 pairs of running tights. I have had people wear, now I could see you doing this.
Oh yeah.
2 pairs of running tights. I do not like the heat.
Well, when I saw you that day, I was like, she's just in like 1 pair of like run tights.
Yeah.
I mean, my legs would be like.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I do come back and my legs are red. But to me, I've run in the 0 degrees with only 1 layer. Usually it's a little bit thicker layer, but I cannot stand the big bulk. I know. I get too hot.
Well,
everybody's different.
So let's, because I wonder if our listeners have had this. So if I go out and run, so I get itches from running in a few different ways. Like,
that's a thing.
It's a thing, but I get them for 2 different reasons. One of them is if I go out and run in cold, and like, especially if I have skin that's exposed to that cold, and then I come back in and it's like internal hives. I mean, it makes me nauseous. It's awful. That's really
the change in blood flow.
And so what is that? So talk about that.
I think it's the change in blood flow.
And so what, the blood flow is coming back into my legs when I start to warm up again?
Right.
And you just get those horrendous itches?
Yeah. And the same thing can happen when it's because of the pounding also. Like the pounding of the running. It's the same thing. It's a blood flow thing. And the nerves coming back on.
And I also read, and maybe so I'm going to tell our listeners. Why not?
Yes,
so
why not?
If I take off more than like, it's usually like anywhere from 5 to 8 days if I don't run. Then when I go back to run, I get internal itches that are just like, they're awful. They're like hives inside. And I read, or like I had a nurse tell me that they were like the mast cells, they sort of collect in your legs, and then when I go run again and I pound, and it like releases the histamine.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's awful.
Yeah.
That is like
we'll
one
put
of
a
the
link in the show notes for you guys who are more interested in the science on that.
Yeah.
So what else are we going to do? So you could do 2 pairs of tights and not put on cotton sweatpants as your layer, as your other layer. Okay. One of my favorite things that I've discovered over, for the last 10 years or so is that vest. And you did see me running in
Your
that
vest. Was great.
The vest is awesome. It's like a little puffer vest that goes over the top. And that really is keeping your core warm, so that you don't have too many layers then on your arms, where you then start to overheat. At least for me, that's how I feel. So if you don't have a running vest, winter running vest, those are awesome. I have like 3 now. More.
So the thing that I find that is super helpful is I have a really thin, I was wearing that very thin windproof Patagonia jacket that's just like, it's and it just blocks that wind, and it makes that I can wear that, and often even on cold days I can run with just like a long sleeve shirt underneath it, and that maybe like a little fleece, and then that I feel like that again, it's that wind for me that really is
and that was a really windy day too when I saw you. Okay, we talk about the wool running socks. Do you have any? What do you wear on your feet?
Oh
no, she's gonna say cotton. Do not tell me.
I don't even know. Like, I know socks are such a big deal, and I have like these 5 pair that I love, and I don't even know what they are. I know.
Okay, guys, try out the wool running socks. There's a variety out there. For me, I see people with like the big, fuzzy, big, thick ones. I can't do that because I feel like there's just not enough, room in my shoe, and everyone's feet swell. Your feet swell when you're running. When you're running far. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a good brand.
See?
She's showing me these sweaty socks.
You doubted my socks.
Those are good. Okay, but you can still get, like, when you have the wool, if they're thin, they're still working really well. So you don't have to get like big, fluffy, poofy socks.
And I feel like the wool is also good for blister resistant. Like, I feel people really get it. It's a good.
Yeah. Okay, so then what do you wear on your head?
I feel like the most effective thing is it's like something that wraps around my ears. So it's like, like the hats are too much, and I feel like the wind like goes up, like you can feel it go up underneath. I know the blessed wind, right? I'm at a battle. I'm at war. So I feel like the wind will go up under the hat, and it like doesn't really work. But this thing like kind of is snug down, and then the windproof vest that I wear has a little hat, so I can pull it up over if I need to. But I feel like a little bit of a hood, just sometimes. It has to be pretty cold. Usually that hood is actually too much.
Yeah, I cannot do a hat. I'm like you. I will do the headband. I do have this thing. So when it is, feels like, or effective temperature of 10 and below, I will not run below 0. I just think it's, I don't think it's super healthy to be out there for that. But I will wear this thing I'm going to say the dessert. I mess it up every time. It's a balaclava. I think I said it correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of the baklava,
yeah.
I typically say baklava, and that's some sort of dessert.
It's a dessert. Yeah.
I know. But it's a combination of, it's a fitted hood with a balaclava piece that can go over. I never keep it over my nose and mouth. I always start off with it, and then it ends up coming down because I feel like it's like a mask. It's too much, but it does cover like my chin and my neck really well, and it covers my ears and my head. So when it's that cold, and it's made out of a really good technical water wicking material, so it's not like this big heavy hat that's real furry or fuzzy or it's perfect for those days. Were you going to say something? I started in.
Oh, just that like, when I wear that thing around my ears, and then my jacket like zips up so that I can create that, block that wind, and then you can moderate that, because I feel like you're constantly like adjusting for your temperature. So you ends up at a little bit, the cold air goes in, you come back up, it warms it up.
Yeah, because if you're out there, you're making turns, you're facing the wind sometimes and not facing it other times. So having an adjustable, absolutely. Okay, what else? We got fleece neck gaiters. I love those. That's just, again, it's something you can, those are really nice. So what about, let's talk about shoe wear in our area in Kansas City. We don't get a ton of snow. I have used yak tracks in the past. Oh, gosh. When it's, well, that was more like when running in Chicago, where we had accumulations of a lot of snow. And the yak tracks are like, I'll put a link in the show notes, but it's just something you strap over your shoe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you might put over hiking boots or something.
Yeah.
And it just gives you some really good traction. But what I've noticed here in Kansas City is that maybe you start off with a snowy section, but then there's sections of the road that aren't snowy. So this thing on your shoes it doesn't work out. But what I've gone to doing is
treadmill.
No.
She's gonna kill me.
I'm just kidding. What I recommend is the trail shoes. So and it wasn't until I began trail running that then I had a pair of trail running shoes. But if you live in an area where you are going to come across having some snow and some snowy days, or some of that like mixture of snow and pavement, the trail running shoes are awesome. It just gives you enough traction that you can actually then go for your run and not have to do a treadmill run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever run in your trail shoes in the snow?
No, and I did a swim run race a couple years ago that was super fun, and like you swim and you have to wear your run shoes with, like, while you swim. It's a whole race. It's super.
What?
I know they're super fun. It's bananas.
No.
Yeah, you do.
I would drown.
You wouldn't. It's a whole thing.
I bet you have to sign a waiver before you get in the pool with your shoes.
You're in the lake with your shoes.
Oh my God!
I know, and then you have to run. No. Like you run in a wetsuit. You swim in your tennis shoes. It's it's super fun.
Mm-mm.
They're called swim run
only
events.
for strong runners.
No,
I mean strong swimmers.
No, because you get to use this pool buoy that's like the size of like a mattress, and so it holds your legs up with the shoes. It's
okay. Well, it's really fun. Then I would.
And you get to do it tethered to another human being.
Oh no!
I know. You're like getting
that
anyway,
sounds like torture.
I've gotten off track. But my point is that's really the only time I've run in trail shoes. Like I don't.
So what did you get up and run on the trail afterwards? Is that it? Is that why?
Yeah. So it's like swim run. So you do like you alternate segments through the whole day, and so you like swim run. So you like swim in your run stuff, and then you run in your swim stuff, and it's like a whole thing. And you're tethered to another person. It's really fun.
Okay.
Anyway, I digress. I don't run much in trail shoes.
Show notes for that race.
I run in my tennis shoes.
Our next challenge. So I think it's worth investing in that if you know you're going to have an area where you are going to come across some snow. The only time I won't run in the snow is when it's super deep or powdery. Like that's ridiculous. If your form is drastically changing.
Well, so let me ask you about that, because when I did the Pikes Peak Ascent earlier this summer.
Oh yeah.
And they had not for some people they'd recommended that you get the yak tracks and you put them on. So they basically look like spikes you put on the bottom of your shoe. But I just wondered about, because I have like issues with my feet and I just try to be really careful about that. I wondered about like doesn't it change like how you hit the ground and how your foot rolls through? Like, are they okay to just throw on and go use? Because they made me a little bit nervous when I thought about like how I would plant my foot and how I would roll through.
When you look at them, you might think that and worry about it a little bit. And I think your first few, maybe your first mile or something in them or whatever, or, your first few steps, actually, you'll get a feel for it and it's not that bad.
Okay.
But you make a good point that anytime you do try something new, right? You just like if you get a new pair of shoes, a new make and model or whatever, the recommendation is that you use them for short runs first to bring them, make sure you don't have any issues with them and that your body can adjust to them. And the same would go for that. So say you had a 20-mile run planned and this was your first snow, you're not going to just put on those yak tracks and then go run 20 miles. You would want to do that at some shorter distances and make sure everything was okay. But I really think my favorite thing is just to have a pair of trail running shoes. So most brands of shoes have a trail running version. So some of the good brands. So like if it's Saucony or Brooks or whatever, Adidas, they all have like a trail running shoe. And I think it's worth having them if you're going to end up having to run in the snow over the winter, just having a dedicated pair for that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, what else do we want to talk about here? Let's go back to the mental part of things for a second, because what I suggest people do is we've talked about this, facing your running demons. Mm-hmm. We had a podcast about that, and it's kind of like you can have this back and forth with yourself about whether to go out into that cold. People, it's just get out the door.
Yeah.
How are you going to get out the door? It's the same thing that you might face just to go on your run or your workout or whatever, but it's just worse because it's going to be cold out there. What I tell myself is get through that first mile, but I have to talk myself into it. I'm not going to regret it. I tell myself I'm not going to regret it.
Yeah.
Once I'm out there, maybe come up with a mantra for myself. It's just I will feel warmer. I will feel warmer soon. It will be worth it. I just keep talking to myself and using those. And you have to come up with your own mantra or thing that's going to work for you. But I highly recommend get started. Just know that first 10 minutes, it's going to take 10 minutes, and then you're going to feel better.
You feel better, for sure.
One of the best ways
to
be able to, to get yourself to run out in the cold is to run with somebody else.
Oh, yes.
Have accountability.
Yes.
Have, a friend that's going to meet with you or a group, one of the running clubs in the area that you live in, because now you guys can be miserable together.
Yeah. And especially if you're going to go for fun coffee after.
Yes, you warm up with fun and conversation, and it keeps your mind off of it too when you have other people to run with and chat with.
Misery loves company.
Yes. Okay, you guys, do it. Just do it.
Thanks so much for listening, and remember,
we are in this together. Until next time.